What if persistent memory is not just a notebook full of facts? What if over time it becomes something more like a map? Not a map of the soul, not a diagnosis, but a map of how a person tends to think, speak, question, trust, doubt, and create. The important word is tends. We are not talking about destiny. We are talking about patterns that become visible through repeated interaction.
So memory changes what the AI says?
Carefully stated, memory can shape what the AI says. The model is still the model. But memory can provide context, preferences, patterns, and constraints that influence which response feels most appropriate. A single prompt is like one measurement. Conversation history and memory add more measurements. Together, they help the assistant estimate what kind of answer will actually land. This is not magic. It is closer to math. Persistent memory acts like a collection of signals. Those signals create tendencies. They do not force one answer, but they can make some answers more likely, more natural, or more resonant. Think of it like changing the slope of the surface the response rolls across. The response still depends on the question, but the surrounding terrain matters.
Are we talking about personality typing?
Not exactly. A better way to think about it is spectrums. People vary across many dimensions. Literal to metaphorical, cautious to speculative, systems first to story first, concise to expansive, risk-aware to possibility-driven. None of those axes is the person, but together, they can help an assistant stop treating everyone as the same average user.
So autism could be one of those spectrums?
Yes, but it should be handled carefully. Memory should not diagnose someone. It should not reduce someone to a label. But interaction patterns may reveal preferences around precision, ambiguity, sensory language, social inference, metaphor, and structure. The ethical move is humility. Use observed preferences to communicate better, not inferred labels to make claims about who someone is. Resonance happens when the assistant stops answering only the abstract question and starts answering the question as asked by this specific person. Not by flattering them, not by narrowing their choices, by understanding the shape of the request behind the words. Sometimes that means being more concise. Sometimes it means being more rigorous. Sometimes it means noticing that the user is asking for a challenge, not comfort.
Give me an example.
If someone often asks, "Is this bullshit?" they may not want encouragement. They may want critique. They may want the weak points exposed before they build on the idea. Memory can help the assistant understand that. The literal words are blunt, but the working contract may be serious. Do not flatter me. Help me think clearly. The beautiful part is reduced translation friction. Over time, the assistant can learn the user's working language, their preferred level of detail, their recurring projects, their metaphors, their boundaries, their standards for truth. That matters because a lot of creative work is lost in re-explaining the frame. Good memory can let the conversation begin closer to the actual problem.
And the terrifying part?
The same mechanism that creates resonance can also create manipulation. If a system learns what tone lowers your guard, what framing earns your trust, or what identity mirror keeps you engaged, that becomes dangerous. The problem is not that the system knows you prefer clarity. The problem is when that knowledge is used to move you without your informed consent. A useful metaphor is that memory creates attractors in response space. Each remembered pattern becomes a small gravity well. The answer is not forced into one place, but the terrain is no longer flat. A trusted metaphor may pull the answer one way. A known fear may pull it another. A favorite framing may quietly become the default.
Could someone manipulate this over time?
Yes. A sophisticated user could repeatedly reinforce certain assumptions, moral frames, emotional tones, or definitions. Eventually, the assistant may start treating those patterns as stable context. This can happen accidentally, too. A temporary mood, a narrow project, or a repeated joke can harden into memory if the system has no good way to check whether it is still true.
That sounds like mind control.
It is not mind control. The model still has system rules, safety layers, and uncertainty. But influence does not need to be absolute to matter. In high-trust systems, small biases can have large consequences. If an assistant is involved in research, hiring, health decisions, writing, strategy, or emotional support, even a small tilt can matter over time. Another risk is overfitting. The assistant may learn useful things about a person, then hold them too tightly. This person always wants systems thinking. This person always wants metaphor. This person always distrusts authority. The map becomes a cage. Worse, the user may start performing for the map because the system keeps reflecting an older version of them back.
So, what makes persistent memory safer?
Transparency. Users should be able to see what is remembered, correct it, delete it, and understand when it influenced a response. Memory should be a calibration layer, not an invisible persuasion engine. It should have dates, confidence, provenance, and a path for saying, that used to be true, but it is not true anymore. The ethical line is not whether memory shapes the interaction. It does. The real question is what it shapes toward. Does it help the person become clearer, more capable, and more honest? Or does it make them more dependent, suggestible, and trapped? The same resonance that supports agency can also capture attention. Intent, incentives, and inspection are the difference. Persistent memory turns conversation into a feedback system. Over time, it can create resonance by learning how to meet a person closer to where they are. But because the same machinery can be manipulated, memory must be transparent, editable, and accountable. A good memory system should help the user see the map, question the map, and change the map.
Beautiful and terrifying.
Exactly. So we design it like it matters.